What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I haven't done a mukbang on my channel in a minute. I got my boy here. Well, he actually wanted to do the podcast, and I was like, nah, we can't make it work. So just come eat some dumplings with me, bruh. So here we have my boy, the GOAT, the OG who walked so I could run.
You wanna say I'm Chinese, Sonny? Here's a reminder. Check your Timbs, they probably say made in China.
You know, yo, thank you, Tim.
Make some noise for JIN the MC.
Shout out people out there, kings.
Yes.
All right, let me say this. The thing so far, just off of that intro alone, the thing I'm the most proud of about myself and maybe us collectively, the two of us here, is that we've reached a point in our life and adulthood that when you said, I just told him to come over and so we could eat some dumplings. Neither one of us felt obligated to say pause or no homo or anything like that. That's growth right there, baby.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, he wanted me to come eat dumplings. I said, I'll come over and eat all the dumplings you can put on the table.
I said, put my dumplings in your mouth, bro. And there's no reason to pause out here. We're grown.
I'm out, yo.
What's up, guys? Before we get into this mukbang, I just want to put you onto this poppin' ass game called Raid Shadow Legends. All right, it's super poppin'. It got downloaded over 15 million times in the past 6 months. It's an RPG that you can play on your phone and you can download it for free. It's an epic dark fantasy done right, okay? It has over 400 champions that you can collect and customize. I'm talking about you can gather orcs, the undead, knights, elves, and more. All that shit. And they got some cool features like multi-battle auto mode, so if you gotta step away from the game a little bit, you can kind of put it on autopilot, let the game do its thing, and you can go handle your business. And they have weekly tournaments and events so you can compete and win extra prizes every week, and they got this dope feature called the Tag Team Arena feature where you can build teams and fight with your clanmates. So what the hell are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and you get 50,000 silver right off the bat and one free epic champion to start you off as part of the new player program. Look, this could be us right here. Yeah, what's up? Bitch! Ha! And then come to here. You dead.
Yo, Tim, man, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
Like all jokes aside, man, I feel like me and Tim, we've crossed paths several times over the years. We've collaborated on stuff together. We've had interesting conversations on camera, off camera. But I don't know if I've ever said it to you enough, right? Even behind the scenes or in front of the scenes that, dude, I'm super happy for you, number one.
Thank
you know, just to piggyback off what you said about, yo, Jin walked or Jin ran so that I could fly. I just want to say, yo, you're not just flying, man. You soaring. So.
I appreciate that, man.
And it's a lot of people, your fans and the people that follow your journey and career, they know it. And that's why I think they're so loyal to you and they ride with you so hard.
Well, thank you, my dude.
Of course, man.
And plus, also, let me say, you look great.
Yo, man, check, I probably look younger than when I was on 106, like week 3. Like, you know, like during week 3, I was a little stressed, right? I looked like I was already in my 30s during week 3, but now I'm actually approaching my 40s, and I feel I'm in my 20s.
Bro, you look, hey, Asian don't raisin, as
Facts.
they say.
Can we dig in already?
Of course.
Okay.
I ordered you a whole bunch of dumplings from Din Tai Fung because I thought it was appropriate.
Yo, check it out. Ask your girl. I was doing something in the house. Matter of fact, she had my egg roll and my dumplings in her mouth. Next time you see her,
We'll start with the biggest one.
I'm gonna get the juiciest one.
Okay.
One of these Shaoling Baos.
Yeah.
If y'all never had Din Tai Fung, they're known for their Shaoling Bao, which is a dumpling with soup in it.
Yeah.
Like you said, we go back.
Yeah.
We go back a while.
Yeah.
Cut to when he came out and surprised me, and we were freestyling together in that room.
What a classic moment.
Back in the days, I used to chase girls for the goodies. Now I sit on sofas with Timothy rocking gray hoodies. About to pass the beat to Mr. Traffic. Here you go. Pass the beat to me. We eat for free because we here at Carl's office and he's about to get me some sushi. I'm so...
So first off, shout out to Carl Choi, who's also, I mean, you know, a dear friend and brother of mine. But honestly, if you talk about behind the scenes in this thing we call the Asian American entertainment community, right? Carl has put a lot of time and effort into it, and you know, and then yeah. So shout out to him, right? A staple in that sense, specifically in LA and California, but even globally. So this was at Carl's office. That's why I mentioned him. And I think you had already had interaction with Carl.
Yep.
And I happened to be at the office that day as well. And he was like, yo, you know who's coming by the office today? You know that guy Traffic? And I was familiar with this guy. Like, I had never met him and we had never interacted. But I was like, oh, he coming through? Cool. So me and Carl hatched this crazy, just on the fly plan where I think you was either in the room already, and I was just gonna come in and start rapping at you.
Yeah.
And passed the test with flying colors.
No,
he didn't even blink. He saw me and he just got right into it.
Yeah, it's funny because when Carl hit me up, he was like, "Hey, yo, man, I got something important to talk to you about." I thought this boy had money for me. I thought he had some type of like bag for me. Like, yo, it was gonna be a record deal. First of all, if y'all don't know who JIN is, okay, if y'all don't know who JIN is,
Add that.
because you know, as we get older, kids get younger.
Yeah.
A lot of kids who've never seen 106 in Park, even. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So it's like, a lot of kids, bro, who comment now on my stuff and will be like, "Yo, the dude from Wildnout is making YouTube videos now."
So you even feel the effects of
Yes,
it.
Yeah. If y'all don't know who JIN is, there used to be a show called 106 in Park.
Wow.
And it was a top 10 countdown on BET. Every week they would have a segment called Freestyle Friday where 2 MCs would come out, rap battle for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then one day I remember I was at school. I was in 8th grade.
You was in the 8th grade?
That was like freshman year, 8th grade.
Yo, I love it, Tim. Go.
So the homie, and you know, I was already like freestyling and stuff. I had a little rap group with the homies. But my boy John,
You was the hottest MC at California. No, continue.
the homie called me and he was like, "Hey man, hey, there's this dude on BET, he's rapping, he looks like you." And I was like, "Man, shut the hell up." They just saying because he's Asian, he looks like me, right?
Of course.
I turned on the TV
And you're like, "It's me!"
I was like, "This fool looks like me." So I was like, low key, like, what the hell? I was like, great. An Asian dude rapping, he looks like me because we were both, you know, double XL hoodies, backward fitted caps.
Yeah.
And then, but
Nietzsche sweater.
yes, but he was killing the game. So he was like, he was the dude that was like, people coming at him with the stereotypical Asian jokes, of course, and you had mad flips, mad clapbacks.
Yeah.
I feel like, let's see, we all watched, you know, back then you had to like download the battles on LimeWire or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know,
So pre-YouTube.
Pre-YouTube.
I think I don't even think the words social media was in existence yet. So yo, it's crazy to hear you talk about it like that once again. You know, and just so vividly, specifically saying I was in the 8th grade. You know what I mean? And man, that's dope, man. And I think just to piggyback off of what you're saying, I don't think at the time that it was unfolding, like for me. So at that time, let's say this: you're in the 8th grade. I think I was like, when I did 106, I was like 20 years old, roughly, like 19, just turning 20. Yo, I don't think it dawned on me what it meant to, let's say, individuals like yourself and other 8th graders, 9th graders, and specifically Asian Americans, right? Like, I mean, it's interesting because here we are talking about, yo, what it meant to the Asian American community and so forth. But I think maybe what's kind of interesting is like the platform itself. This is BET, right? So, Black Entertainment Television. And my point is that I think at the time, I was so laser sharp focused on the task at hand, which is I'm just here to battle and crush it. That, yeah, I mean, of course, I'm aware I'm Asian. I mean, because it's the first thing my opponent would say to me. And that wasn't new to me. Because I think also to add a little backstory, me going up on 106 to the general public, they might just be seeing me in that battling sense. But prior to that, I had kind of been, like, if we use, like, let's say, you know, Creed, right, the movie. I had been in Creed training mode, right, conditioning.
I was just going to ask, where were you battling before you got on 106 Park?
Well, so the backstory is, you know, I was actually born and raised in Miami. I know you got some Miami, Florida viewers and fans. So shout out to the 305, 954. 305, right? So I would say as early as like junior high, like 6th, 7th grade, I was already in that world. But, you know, on a smaller scale, battling in the cafeteria, at the lunchtime, the movie theater. And then it slowly graduated to more intense. Like, I would go to tournaments. So from battling in my area, my neighborhood, to, you know, you turn 16, 17. I had my little Honda Civic, 97, EX. I didn't put rims on it, but I got the windows tinted. So, and that was like 2 bars. I didn't even realize it. Ain't got no rims on it, but the windows tinted. So, all right. Anyways, so later on, I started driving around, right, to other area codes battling, and then transitioning to actually flying to other tournaments in other states. But I think the big twist is when my whole family moved to New York in 2001. And that's after 9/11, interestingly. So 9/11 happened in September. October, my family's like, we're going to move to New York. Just for family reasons. Like, things were looking kind of shaky in
It wasn't so you could pursue your rap career.
That wasn't the goal, but in my heart, it was. In my heart, it was like, I'm coming with my family, but also I know that if I want to get my break, it's going to be in New York. Because at that time in Miami, I think I had made as much push as I can, right?
Okay.
So I say that to say that's what led me to 106. I got to New York, and I'm battling on 42nd Street. I'm battling in the Village, Union Square, wherever. And then one day I was like, oh, there's an audition for 106, and I went up there. But the main thing I was trying to say is that I don't think at the time I thought too much about. I love this word. I didn't think too much about legacy. And what does this mean for my legacy? But here we are now 20 years later. And to hear sentiments like yours, like, nah, Jin, I was in the 8th grade. You popped up with a Nietzsche hat on. You had on, like, I think, like, you know, some Air Force Ones. I had the same joints, right? And I never put the strap on the front. I just left them taped on the side.
I did.
Like, stuff like that, you know what I mean? So I see it and I hear it now. And I think even over the years when I read these type of comments, and I know you've experienced too, I think in real time, you don't digest it as much as when you reflect on it later on. And you're like, you meet that guy that said, yo, Tim, I started watching your vlogs when I was in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
I just got married.
Right.
Right? And me and my wife, we actually met
From watching your
yeah. And I left a comment on under your video. And she was like, this is the most stupid comment I've ever read on YouTube or something. And then we hit it off, right? And you're just like, wow. You know? So
let me tell you how influential you were back then, because you know, of course, when you were rapping, battling, I was also, you know, like battling people in high school and stuff like that. But so I was like, I would have to come up with just premeditated JIN rebuttals. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I know they're gonna come at me with JIN.
Because you used to have also you had the low fade.
Yeah, the low fade just
so
like
everything. We're the same height, everything, and
So I think I had one of my go-tos. Like if someone ever called me JIN, I would say something like, oh yeah, you think I'm JIN, but I got the juice, or some shit like that.
bro. Don DeMarco.
You're not trying to go on a KOTD or?
Nah, man, it's always a reoccurring topic. Like, as far as me and battling and people that are still like, yo, Jin, we need you there. And I don't know how large that group of people is. The ones that are really like, no, we need you and it needs you and we want to see you. So my point is, regardless of this, a large faction of people or just a handful, I feel like the only reason I haven't done it yet, or I don't see myself doing it, is I just feel like if my heart and head and mind aren't really committed to it, I'd rather pass on it. Because easily people are like, yo, I'm pretty sure you could get a bag for it, Jin. Yeah. And I'm like, I've always felt I could get a bag for it too. Even if people want to tune in just to see if it's a train wreck. You know what I mean? And see me get crushed or whatever. So there's a bag waiting. But I've just always been like, if it's purely for the bag, I'm good. And it's not because I don't like bags and I don't care about the bag, but I cherish that thing too much. I cherish battling and the sport.
You respect it.
I respect it too much, you know. And as I watch these guys, you know, the guys that are currently active now, you know, I'm like, where they've taken it, like pen game wise, and just the overall performance art of it wise, it's a whole nother world. Like it's not 106, it's not Wildnout. I mean, I didn't even know within the Wildnout world, you got it. Those are the guys from it. The Charlies, the Hollers, Khan, you know what I mean, who are still, for the most part, active in that world. It's something else, man.
Speaking of Wildnout.
How about this? You see how the tables have turned? Yeah. Where he might be the guy that's like preparing for, you want to be Jin. Now I got to be the guy at the airport that's like randomly getting ran up on, and people are like, yo, man, you be killing it on Wildnout. Now, this is before I even like had any engagement or contact with the show. So as of right now, I some of y'all may know or seen on IG that follow me, I actually did join and tape a handful of episodes.
What?
Yeah, so I taped a handful of episodes. None of them have aired yet. Depending on when you see this, they may have aired, but I actually had to hit this man up. I love it. It's a two-way street.
It's crazy,
I actually hit him up before committing to it, just to pick his brain, because I know, you know, he's deep in that in terms of experience, and I knew that he could give me insight on what that looks like, what they're prepared for, and not only just like, oh, in terms of like the Wild Out battles, but just the overall culture of that show and how it's run and what are some, and he gave me some dope insights, so thank you for that.
I'm glad you decided to do it.
I did do it.
And you know, it's crazy, because I feel like it's crazy to think that there's gonna be kids watching you come on Wildnout, and they're gonna be like, oh, they brought in a wannabe Timothy or some shit like that, right?
My first day of taping, I had a couple of kind of like puns and jokes about that. Yeah. So I don't know if any of it will make the editing, but I definitely had to. Like,
so people will obviously coming at you. So did Khan or some shit?
All of them. On the show, off the show, in the green room. If I show up on day one and I'm in the green room and I can't handle the feel, oh snap, what's this, the Costco Tim?
Right. Of course.
I don't belong there. You know what I mean? So I loved it. I loved the experience. It was very refreshing for me because I think for a while I had not put myself or found myself in that environment. Because there was a large chunk of time where, so this is like post the 106, right? And then just to add on to what you were sharing, through 106 and that battling thing for the kiddies out there, I ended up signing a deal with
Rough Rider,
Double Law, and was with them for a few years, and then eventually parted ways and kept doing music independently. But then a big twist was when I went out to Asia, right? So for those, what I'm saying is for those few years that I was in Asia, as amazing and insightful and progressive as it was there, it was a very different environment than, let's say, the Wild and Out environment. Yes. Or the BET Rough Rider environment.
How so?
Everything. I mean, right off the top, language, right? I mean, so I mean,
but you're fluent though.
No, when I went, so I speak Cantonese fluently. But when I went out to like Beijing and Shanghai,
oh, it's Mandarin.
It's all Mandarin, and I was picking it up as I was going. But my point is, like, aside from the language thing, just culturally, like, I don't think they have roasting in China, but I don't think.
But it's duck.
They crack jokes in China, but there's something special about American good old-fashioned barbershop roasting, joke cracking that I think is signature to America. I'm not saying it's better or worse. Like, I'm saying you go to different countries, you go to London, you go to Australia, I'm sure there's joke cracking everywhere. But I think just because different places have different cultures, I'm talking like in America, you go into a barbershop or the ball court and there's a session going on, you hear and see some ish that could blow your mind, right? Like, and so,
and it's like, and you don't, the thing about it too, people always ask me when I was on Wild 'N Out, like, would you ever get offended? Would you ever get mad at the Asian jokes? I'm like, no, bro. Like, that's what that's what I'm there for. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're all doing to each other. It's all just fun and games. Like, that's why it was fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I almost felt like I was molded for Wild 'N Out because like growing up where I grew up, it was like, okay, I like to rap. And I was being funny, and it was like, and we were all just getting on each other. You know, when you're battling somebody at lunch, of course, the first thing they go for is like the Asian jokes, and then I would hit them with the Latino jokes, or just whatever applied. You know what I'm saying? And it was all in good fun. We'd say the most horrible stereotypes and then dap it up afterwards. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it was.
That is the interesting like beauty of battling and that roast culture. Unfortunately, like. I think you agree. It's not cut out for everybody. No. Or everybody's not cut out for it. That's the thing. So, engage at your own risk is the point. I started this thing with my son. We be roasting each other at the house. But I balance it out. So, I'll start with a dose of like, roasting. Like if he was here, he'd be like, man, look at you with your red shirt. I taught him the setup. So I'm sure what he would say. If I literally was like, yo, Chance, get him. He'd be like, look at you with your red shirt, looking like you've been bleeding all day. Okay. Right? So I mean, it's basic, but that's I try to get him to start off. Yes. But just so y'all don't think I'm like the most horrible father on earth, I counterbalance it also with some positive roasting. Right. So I'll also do a session where I'll be like, yo, let's roast each other, but straight compliments, right? So I'll be like, man, look at you, looking like you brush your teeth before I even tell you to. And he'll be like, look at you, looking like you kiss mommy every morning when you wake up. So we'll be like
a simp.
Yeah. So I try to tell him that this is something that you're going to run into in school. Right. You can do it amongst your friends. And then, but not everyone's for it, right?
You gotta know
who you're talking to. Yeah. So, I mean, he's only 7, but, he might audition for Wild 'N Out, next year. I don't know.
Hey, because they keep
getting rid of Asians. and then they keep replacing him with the next generation.
True. I mean, they tried to bring in Rice Gum for a little bit.
He was on for a few episodes.
He did a few episodes. He actually
I never met him yet.
You know, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a sweet guy.
Yeah.
You know, he was chilling. He didn't really like doing the show though, when I talked to him. Or when I talked to people that were on the cast, they were like, nah, Rice never wanted to play no games. He was he wanted to go home early. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
And you know, they tried, but it's hard. You know,
wasn't even Randall. OG. Randall was on for a few seasons, right?
The OG. If y'all didn't know, Randall Park, who plays the dad on Fresh Off the Boat, and you know, hilarious in other movies,
and the freaking dictator in the Interview.
Yeah, so good. He killed. He stole the show in that.
Yeah.
So it's funny because he was on the OG Wildnout.
Yes.
And I ran into Randall Park at like a party in LA one time, and I was like, yo, and I was like, what's up? And he was like, and nice to finally meet you. And I think. Yeah, one of us, I forget who started it, but somebody was like, it's the OG agent for Wild. And I was like, yeah, it's the current agent on Wild Now. What's good? And we dapped it up. You know, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it just shows you that Wild Now as a institution, the alumni is it's more amazing than I think some people give it credit for.
No, it's true.
Because like maybe some kind of just went on for like maybe half a season or a few episodes. But as far as that was in the mix and grinding and honing the craft, I mean, you could go anywhere from Mr. Hart. To Mr. Williams, you know, Michael Blackson. I mean, even though he might not have ever been a cast member, or maybe he might have, I don't know. But my point is, all of these different names that you can kind of think of at some point.
Do you know whose idea it was to bring you on Wild Now?
No.
Was it Nick?
Oh, so I think the little bit of backstory is that me and Nick had crossed paths at a battle that I did way back in the days. It was at this like music conference type thing, right?
Okay.
That they used to have a lot of in the industry, right? So it'll be like a 3-day getaway in Puerto Rico where they bring all the DJs from across the country, and then every record label will have like a showcase, right? Like this is our new artist for the year, this is his single, and this is the club joint, right? So this is like early 2000. And at one of those things in Puerto Rico, Fight Club did a battle. So I was in that battle.
Is that and you ain't even a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Shouting out people.
Yeah, and then the game, Los Angeles Confidential. He was a new artist that year, right? And everybody was going crazy because they was like, yo, that's the guy that 50 just signed. So it was hectic that year. But a pivotal moment in the battle in the final round, I saw him standing on the side of the stage, right? Just watching the battle like this. So this was an off-the-top moment, and these are the best moments. I looked at him, and I said to my opponent, I was like, yo, my man came from Compton to see me put you to shame. And you know he knew who I was because game recognized game.
And I remember this.
They went nuts.
Everyone crazy.
Went nuts, flipped the table over. And it's not so much, I mean, there's the wordplay of it, but not so much the complexity and just, you know, the delivery. The relevance of it is what had because everybody was already focused on the game during that weekend, right? And he was on fire as far as like the streets and all of that at that time. So when I said that, he's there, I throw that in, and it's just one of those special battle off the top moments. Tables flip. So I win the tournament, but an interesting fun fact is that I think during that melee, I walk over and he like daps it up, and he put like $2,000 in my hand.
Game?
Yeah.
Word?
Cash. All I felt was like a little wad of something. I mean, I didn't look at it right away, but I felt the wad, and I was like, yo, what's up? All right, good looking. I didn't put it in my pocket. As soon as I got back to that room, I was like, oh, it was like 50s, 20s.
See that just cuz?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like, you know, he felt like that was a nice shout out for him, you know, and I'm sure the G Unit signing, you know, didn't do him that bad either, right? But so shout out to the game. But how this ties into Mr. Cannon is that at that battle, I think MTV was walking around doing interviews, and when we ran up on Nick. Nick was like, man, I got, because the battle, the first place prize was $50,000, right? Which I won. So I actually won $52,000. Hey, shout out to the game, right? But they ran up on Nick, and Nick was like, I got $50,000 on JIN, right? And so that was kind of the first moment that I knew that I was on his radar. And then after that, I don't think we really ever actually crossed paths. So tying it back to Wild and Now, I think that when they were... I guess just in their powwows, I think it was always like, yo, let's see if JIN is down. And then I think timing is a big thing. Because when they reach out to me, it just so happened to be that I came back from China as well. Right. And I was kind of here now, right? And based here now. Or when I say here, I mean in the States.
Yes.
So yeah, it was fun.
I ever tell you I tried to use our likeness to get at Kyla Pratt? I ever tell you this story?
Oh, Kyla, one-on-one Kyla Pratt?
One-on-one Kyla Pratt. I never
And what happened? Flex threw you out the trailer? Flex was like, you ain't Jin. I know Jin. Get that. No, shout out to Kyla, shout out to Flex. Oh, please, do tell.
Shout out to Flex, because
Kyla,
I actually met Flex for the first time like last year. But like, so I was at
a random one-on-one reference.
I was at the South Bay Galleria in Torrance, and your 106 and Park episodes had just kind of been airing.
So it's during that era.
It's that era. I'm at the mall chilling with the homies. I see fucking Kyla Pratt at the Genghis Khan getting some stir fry, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go up to her, right? So I'm like, hey, aren't you that girl from that show? This is 101 was still on the air.
101 Kyla Pratt.
101 was on UPN.
She's a beautiful woman now too.
Beautiful.
Then she was like the beautiful girl.
Cute girl.
Yeah. She's a cute girl. Now she's a beautiful woman. But
so I'm like, hey, aren't you that girl on that show? She was like, yeah.
Man, that is her.
So I was like, all right, well, I don't know if you recognize me, if you've been watching 106 in Park, Freestyle Friday, you know, Jin. She was like, oh yeah. And she didn't know what I was talking about. And then so I was like, well, let me know, you know what I'm saying, if you might want want me to do a cameo on the show, something like that, you know, I'll get your number, blah, blah. She did just like this. I was like, let me know if you need a cameo. She was like, okay. I went back to her food. All right.
Cool. Sorry, that didn't work out for you.
Hey, it's okay.
Why didn't you pull out your R chain? You should have been like double R, baby.
Man, I probably had a little cheap ass dog tag on.
Oh man, that's cool though. That's a funny story.
And I was walking through Knott's Scary Farm.
Yeah.
Since it's Halloween time. So this was probably around this time of year when your episodes were airing, because I was walking through Knott's Scary Farm. 3 girls were following me because I had this academic sweatsuit on, and
shout out to academics.
Matching bag, not the DJ.
Not the DJ.
The kids might know
they might. Yeah, we're talking about the clothing line.
So I was walking around. These girls were following me. They were like, "Oh, that's that boy.
That's that boy. That's
that Chinese boy from 106 in Park.
That's that boy."
So they started following me around.
Oh man, now, but
and they thought I was you, and I was like letting them believe I was you.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. So they were like, ain't you that boy from 106 in Park? And I was like, yeah.
I wonder how many Asian dudes in that year got asked, ain't you that boy from 106?
So then they was like, okay, if you him, rap then. So I spit some of my own bars.
Yeah.
And they was like, that was cute. You not Jin. I know.
Oh man. You know, was the other thing that I remember you had talked about before that I both thought was genius, as well as like, what the what is this fool doing? This is before I knew you, but I remember you talked about it either in an interview or even when we first met, you shared it with me.
Yeah.
And I think I told you a funny counter story. You was like, yo, even at one point in your early days of diving into the YouTube world, you was already, this is how this guy was already ahead of the curve. If you look at it, he used to tag his videos with Chinese guy 106 in Park or MC Jin or whatever. And mind you, this is how my mom became a viewer. I'm thinking, your royal penis is clean, Your Highness. Because my mom, is like looking, kind of like browsing for videos of her son or whatever. And then this dude comes up and he's like in his room, like whacking off or whatever he was doing in 2006, right? But I both credit his genius. And I remember I was like, I mean, that's a genius move.
Well, here's the thing about it.
And just in terms of like from a technological standpoint, you was ahead of the curve.
Because the thing about it is on YouTube, my first videos were me freestyling. Yeah. Just me, I put on a beat, I would just freestyle.
Your mom would like pop her head in the doorway every now and then. Like
that. So
vintage.
I would tag them all, Jin, 106 in Park, Freestyle Friday. and with the hopes that people looking for your battles will come across me. You know what I'm saying?
That's all everybody does now. Tagging, algorithms. So I'm just saying it's not coincidental that you were able to pave the way that you paved for yourself, man. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, it all comes full circle. If y'all haven't seen the song that me and Jin did together about how people confuse us with each other,
that was actually a dope piece.
It was dope. It's called I'm Not Him. I'll put a clip right here, and then you can click to watch the rest of it later.
I'm Not Him. Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe this straight happened again. I don't know that dude, man. We not even friends. Don't get me wrong, seems like a fine fellow, but I'm dark beige and he's more of a high yellow.
Aside from our complexion, the list goes on. They say we all look alike, for real? That's just wrong. I subbed your channel, I watch all your vlogs, and tell Ricky Sucks what's up, that's my dog.
I mean, Rick used to call me Jin as a joke.
I see you with the Yang Gang hat
Yeah.
on. You know, I feel like you went low key viral with this Yang rap you did the other day.
Flip the 8 Mile, Papa Dog, verse B Rabbit.
Gang gang, yeah, that's us. Notice that these candidates don't got their hands up. These moderators got y'all gassed up. Won't even let me talk, scared that I'll catch up.
My mission these days is using my little platforms, you know, IG, whatever, right? Or just the Jin voice to really rally behind him. And just the backstory of it is I learned about him only just this year, like top of the year, right? Like January, February.
I think a lot of us just started learning about him this year.
Yeah. And I think he announced his candidacy probably sometime last year. And the main thing about this guy is, he kind of, you know, he's pretty transparent about everything. He doesn't come from a political background. And depending on who you ask, some people like, how is someone with no political background going to run this country? And the answer is, he's doing it right now. All right. So, I mean, I guess that's the good and the bad. Maybe we do need someone that isn't particularly tied to any political system to go in and kind of lead the charge, right? Take us in a certain direction. The other thing that really spoke to me is that out of all of the candidates on the blue side or the red side, I feel that there really aren't that many that are just bringing a breath of fresh air to the table. Whether it's in their policies, whether it's just in their persona, their demeanor. And I know you're like, oh man, Jin, what does all of that have to do with running the country, right? To me, this is just simply Jin's point of view. I feel like no candidate is going to be perfect. No candidate is going to be the one that saves the country and saves humanity, right? So to me, how I gauge who I vote for, I look at policies, I look at their beliefs, I look at what they bring to the table. But most basically and at the core, it's really an instinct thing, right? So I just look at who spoke to me. So going back to 08, which was the first time that I ever voted as a born citizen, right?
For Obama.
Obama. Now people are like, oh, you voted for Obama because he was black. I'm like, no, I would have voted for Morgan Freeman if that was the case. Technically, Morgan Freeman was the first black president.
I voted for Obama because he was black and because he was charming.
He was charming too, yeah. So I think the thing is, like, whether it was Obama being potentially the first black president, which he ended up being, or in this case, Andrew as an Asian American, this is something I always like to clarify and really drive home. The fact that he's Asian American, to me, Jin, means a lot. Absolutely. I would be lying if I said, that doesn't speak to me in a way that is on a deep level. As an Asian American, and now I got 2 little boys, just for him, a chance, right? It's my 7-year-old. Just for him to see on TV Andrew Yang and, you know, be like, hey, he's Asian. We're Asian, right, Daddy? Right. I'm like, yeah, we are. But so there's that. But just to be absolutely crystal clear, if I didn't feel like I supported his stance on certain things and what he's bringing to the table, I would never just be like, yo, that's my guy either way, right? Like, so I say that with a lot of conviction. But anyways, for the people that have not made a decision yet, I just feel like there's no harm in looking into him. So that's kind of
just wants his $1,000 a month.
Facts.
That's all he wants.
Facts.
Because we all know that Wildnout does not pay
that much. And I love that Andrew always clarifies and also drives the point home that it's not a new idea. You know, he's like, yo, this is not an Andrew Yang idea. In fact, people in the history of America have tried to push for it. Like Martin Luther King has tried to push for it. A guy named Thomas Paine, who I don't know the background of Thomas Paine, but he was one of the original people who tried to push this forward. And this is really just, it's a rightfully deserved basic income that every citizen should get.
I mean, it definitely, you know, I feel like it makes sense to, instead of spending like millions and billions of dollars on a wall or the military, let's give a little back to the people so they can actually make ends meet and shit, you know?
I don't want to make it seem like I'm here trying to shove Andrew down anyone's throat. So my closing thing in that regard is like the Yang Gang, I feel really is a special thing in the sense that it's such a diverse group of people. And if you even have a little bit of interest in what Andrew's about, then look into it. And then if you look into it and you're like, nah, Jin, this ain't my cup of tea, I'm fine with that too. So
make America great again. Trump for life. Trump 22.
Love it.
Speaking of the future, what else you going
What
on?
am I doing?
I know you're trying to do the acting thing. What's up with that?
Yeah, so on the acting tip, man, I've been blessed. Blessed in the sense that, you know, my first foray into acting was through something that I felt like kind of fell from the heavens, right? And I didn't go out to try to chase it, which was the Too Fast, Too Furious gig. And just to be able to, right out the gate, land a high-profile role.
How you do that?
Yo, that was actually kind of on the heel of 106. It's a funny thing. I was in the mall. I ran into Kyla Pratt. And she's like, you know my Uncle John Singleton? R.I.P. John.
She was like, you know some dumbass little boy tried to pretend he was you, trying to get my number?
But nah, I think the real kind of backstory of it is, I think the CEOs of Rough Riders, this is my understanding of it. I think they had a tight relationship with John. And R.I.P. to John, really.
Damn.
You know, we lost him recently. And then you think about just within that Fast and the Furious world, especially Too Fast, Too Furious, John's gone, Paul's gone. So it's kind of, it's surreal and it's sombering when I think about that. So for me, through that project is how I got to meet and interact with these people, right? And like I said, it was my first acting project. So I think the biggest thing I've realized between that gig and now is, during that time I was more infatuated with the idea of being a movie star than acting itself.
Oh, okay.
So that's the epiphany.
Okay.
I think the big switch is way later on, when I actually went to Hong Kong, right? And I got more roles out there, film and TV, that I was like, oh wait a minute, I approached this thing wrong the whole way in the beginning. Like, this shit is an art, is a craft. And for me, as someone who loved watching movies, I'm a movie cinephile. I think that's the word, right? I think it was that, cinephile, not peta, okay? As a cinephile, I was like, I gotta reapproach this acting thing. So from there, really digging into the courses.
Oh, word.
Reading, right?
I should probably do that.
It helps. I mean, I've heard from people that that's not always the way you have to go. You know what I mean? Sometimes going there might take away from something that you have naturally already too. You get what I'm saying? Some people have said that.
I mean, I ain't booked a whole lot of stuff, you know.
That's all, you know, but so yeah, I say that to say, as you can agree and attest, that it's a grind. You go out, you try to read for as much stuff as you can, you try to tape for as much stuff as you can, and after you tape for it, you just try to move on with life and don't dwell on it.
I was just telling Jen that one of the main things I was super hyped about that I auditioned for, I thought I had it in the bag, was Aquafina's new Comedy Central show. I submitted this funny ass self-tape. He submitted for the same one, and then like I was like, I got this. I texted Aquafina, I was like, hey, I just submitted for your show. She was like, oh, okay, sweet, blah, blah. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yo, I'm in there. We're friends. Like, we kicked it before. I'm in there, right? And then next thing I know, Dumbfounded posts on his Instagram that he got it. And I forgot, like, oh, this is nepotism. They are like best friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
Sidebar, you gotta tell him the role that he read for and I read for was to play her best friend in the show. So
it makes sense.
it makes sense. So shout out to Dumb, no?
Shout out to Dumb. I texted Dumb. I was like, motherfucker, I auditioned.
It would be him, though.
Yeah, I auditioned for that, and he was like, well, I guess we're even now, because he auditioned for Wildnout Out, and you know, and I got that instead of him.
I'll add on to it, Dumb. So you remember that movie Body that came out like a year or two ago, the Joseph Kahn joint?
Yeah.
So I auditioned for the role in it, right? And the role that I auditioned for was this Korean battle rapper in the show. And guess who got the role? A Korean battle rapper.
That's not fair, because Joseph Kahn and Dumb already had a relationship.
That too, but yo, I was saying to myself, if I get this role, if I audition for a Korean battle rapper and they give it to me instead of a Korean battle rapper, yo, my acting game is like superb. So I mean, once again, I told myself that time too, because the casting director was like, yeah, still submit a tape if you're interested, which I did. But in the end, when they announced that, Dumbfounded is essentially playing Dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised either, but I told Dumb about that. So just to show you, the circle is small. Everybody's just grinding.
And if y'all ain't seen the song that me, Jin, and Dumb did together, this
Charlie Sheen.
Super old.
Look
up Charlie Sheen. I'll put a clip. You can watch the rest of it later.
Yeah.
They say I lost my mind, Charlie Sheen. They say I lost my mind, Charlie Sheen. They say I lost my mind, Charlie Sheen. Yeah, I still said it. Dumbfounded. Tiger blood in my veins got me fired up. Charlie Sheen, Bob Marley, Steve's lighted up.
Congrats to you on your newborn baby.
Yeah, we got Chance the son in his on his second grade wave, right? And then the newborn is Justice. So clearly, I probably gave my kids the most non-Asian names. Yeah, Chance the Sun and Justice. So they're definitely forming a rap group down the line. That's a mixtape, bro. That's a mixtape in the.
I'm just trying to be like you, man.
You got
out some babies. You know what I'm saying?
She is waiting for you, girl.
What's it? I'm full.
I'm good, man.
I've been
Thank you for the grub. Thank you for inviting me over to the crib, man. All the best and continue to kill it, man.
Oh, can we look forward to any new music from you?
Yo, yeah. So, an interesting thing about this year is with the newborn son, I also made a decision that, you know, from now and in the coming months and going into 2020, just in terms of even on the home front, I want to be more present here. And when I say here, I mean stateside and in this particular slice of the world, right? So how does that connect with music and the acting and the just creative content? I definitely feel like with that, even though I'm here for the family, I feel like it'll allow me to dive more into that too. Like just go into the lab, you know, cooking. Like, cause I feel like I still got stuff I want to say, whether it's in rhyme form, whether it's in stand up. You did stand up too, right?
I've dabbled.
You've dabbled in it. Is that something that you would want to dive deeper into?
It's something that I love the art of stand up. You know what I'm saying? When I first started dabbling is when my YouTube stuff was really kind of taking off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should pick something and really commit to it so I'm good at it. So I left the stand up alone.
Yeah.
But I've been jotting stuff down, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been wanting me to do it because, you know, there's a wave of like clubs booking people with followings.
Yes.
But then you also, with that, you get people who are doing stand up just to fill a auditorium and it's trash. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and
hell
I feel like it's kind of disrespectful to the
art.
art.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really want to,
totally, man.
you know, like hone it before I start doing that. But how
I love the way you put it.
So
my foray into that was about 2-3 years ago, and it really came from a place of maybe not desperation, but I think at that time, creatively, I was in a place of like, what the F, you know what I mean? Like, so at that time, my second kid wasn't born yet, but I had come back from Asia, right? From a positive, good run in Asia, but I came back. Was working on music again, released the album independently, and it was a great experience, but you know, it didn't really take off, so to speak.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted to say, yo, I'm not looking at this as a comeback album, this is just me pouring my heart and soul into my music, I think deep down I was really hoping that album would pop off. The album was called 1459. It's on Spotify, check that out. I mean, if there's any throwback JIN fans or people that are just discovering me, I would think that any question you may have about my career, my faith, anything about me, I answered in that album. So the point is, after that released and the smoke kind of settled, I was just in this space creatively, just like, what the hell? And then one day I did a Google search. I was in New York and I typed in New York comedy open mics, and a bunch came up. So I just clicked on the first one or two, and out of curiosity, I went to go watch one day at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right, on a Wednesday, and it was just super surreal. The first day I went, I just watched. But then the next Wednesday, I was like, I'm throwing my $5 in that bucket.
Okay.
I'm gonna get my little 6 minutes. I'm gonna go up there, you know. Right. But here's the thing: the audience, like, what is the audience? It's really just like 4 or 5 other comics and the host, right? So, but the thing to me that caught me off guard was the week that I went, the following week. I was like mad nervous, mad excited. Yeah. And the best way I can describe it is, I felt this alive feeling that I think I hadn't felt in a while, right? So when the guy opens the bucket and he's like, all right, next up, we got Mick Jin. Give it up for Mick Jin. Give it up for Mick. I guess I could have made the C a little bit bigger. So it looked like a capital M and a lowercase C. I can't blame that guy. So I go up and I do my 5-6 minutes, and it's just like it's just 4 or 5 people. So it's not like, hey. Yeah. If anything, it was just really like mundane. But I will always remember that feeling of coming off and feeling like, yo, this is my new jam. Okay. So between then and now, it's just, going to more open mics, trying to get on shows, try to get my 4 minutes here, my 5 minutes there. And I love what you just said a moment ago about you kind of respect the craft enough to make sure you keep honing it before you actually really say, yo, I do this.
Just a little bit.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So I got this joint that I taped already. So this is cool. We like to be transparent. I know you'd like to on your platforms and whatnot. So sometimes, even right now, as much as I want to continue to pursue that, I'm still in a stage where I'm hesitant sometimes. When people are like, yo, Jin, you do stand-up, right? instinctively, I want to be like, word, yeah, I be on my stand-up comedy thing. But I automatically think about the people we see as legends. And I'm like, there's no way I can even use that term.
Right.
Like, that's what they do, right? But I got, I guess, I don't know how else to call it, but I got a special that I taped like about a month ago in New York.
Word.
So I just found a venue. You know, prepared like a set, invited people, and then just taped it, right? So I'm dropping that probably before the end of the year.
How long is
just
that?
on my, it's about like 40-something minutes.
Damn!
So I go in for, so it's called, and I think right when I drop the top, like the title, you already will have a vision in your mind of, okay, I have a sense of where Jin's going with this right off the bat. The title of the special is called What a Time to Be Asian.
Okay.
So, you know, I think there's a lot of things that will resonate with you personally, Tim.
Why is that?
I think you're Asian. You mentioned it a few times over the years on your channel, right? That you're Asian. You even mentioned it once or twice on Wildnout too.
Yeah,
once
probably,
or twice,
you know.
But yeah, and in it, I touch on, of course, topics that I think people will expect already, right? Whether it's the how did we all feel when Crazy Rich Asians came out, right? To the, where were you during Linsanity when he scored 89 points, right? Shit like that.
Okay.
And then I talk a bit about my own personal experiences. So before the end of the year, I definitely send you a link, man.
Cool.
And I want you to tell me if it's trash, because then after that, I'll delete your number and never talk to you. But if you're like, yo, Jin, you know, I see where you're trying to go with this, then, you know, I appreciate that too. You know?
All right, man. I'm looking forward to it, dog. Yeah. Thanks for coming to my house and eating up some food and talking to the camera, bro. Appreciate it.
You gotta let me say it one time. King shit.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
Thank you. King shit.